Hi folks, it's Andy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to another Kendo rant. I've got some fantastic questions for you today. But before we jump into them, don't forget you can support the channel by buying a fantastic t-shirt like this one that says Keizoku wa Chikara Nani. I've got others as well, but they're over there. I know I keep using this one because it's on my desk. But yeah, Keizoku Chikara Nani means like perseverance is power. I think that's an awesome design. We've got some others as well. So yeah, that's one way you can support the show. And more importantly, you can do it by shopping at KendoStar. More about that later on. Not telling you when, because you might skip it. Like a cheeky little one. Okay, let's get into these questions. I was watching one of your Subudi videos where you taped up your right shoe for better gliding along the floor when practicing indoors. Do you have any tips for when practicing outdoors, as I don't have any matting and training shoes are difficult to properly slide in? Thanks, Mark. I don't know, to be honest, Mark. Basically, you know, you could, if I were you, I'd just try and I'd try and either practice indoors, which you can do. You don't have to do it outside. If you don't have to use a shinai, yeah, you could use something shorter, or you could just hold your hands together like this and practice. If you want to do the subudi, you could sit down and do the subudi. I've got another video about practicing at home, about doing that. You could do that, or if you really wanted to, you could just try and get an offcut of like some like linoleum or something, that you could put down on some concrete outside and slide on. But don't do fumikomi on it; you'll hurt yourself. Yeah. Next one, carbon fiber shinai. Do you use them? Why not? Are they any good? No, I don't use carbon fiber shinai. I don't really like the feel of them. Carbon fiber shinai were invented for schools to use as like communal equipment for PE classes that involved Kendall. So for people that don't normally do Kendall, to do Kendall with. Because they're durable, they don't need much maintenance. It doesn't matter if you've got rubbish tenuchi. It kind of doesn't affect them too badly. So that's what they're invented for. They're not really aimed at experienced kendoka, but obviously they have become popular around the world, especially in drier climates, because they are more durable generally than bamboo shinai. However, I don't like them. I've used them before, but I don't like them particularly because I don't like the feel of them, and they're just a little bit too flexible for my taste. I do prefer more flex in the shinais that I use. That's why I tend to use keichiku shinai over madake shinai for a lot of the time, especially in competitions. It's because I prefer the feel of that sort of more flexible bamboo. But the carbon shinai, they just take that a little bit too far for my personal taste. So no, it's not something that I particularly like. I don't recommend them either if you're sort of studying Kendo seriously, unless you're living in a very dry climate where it's very hard to keep real bamboo shinai moist enough not to split and splinter. I think you will have a better Kendo experience, and you'll develop better Kendo from using a bamboo shinai. I think you will develop a better understanding of tenuichi by doing so. Next one, some Bogu bags have the term Boston attached to the name. Do you happen to know what the term Boston refers to? Yeah, it's English, obviously, and basically I think a name for, at least it might be a little bit outdated now, but a name for like a bag, that like a handbag or a purse, you might say in North America, but that zips up and has handles on either side, has in the past been referred to as a Boston bag. And I think it's because, like, I looked this up actually, and it was like in America, women that would carry bags around, apparently women from Boston or something would often carry a bigger bag around than people from the parts of the country. So those type of kind of bigger bags that are, like I say, they zip up and they have a handle on either side, would be referred to as Boston bags. And the Bogu bag, that it's got a zip and it's got a handle on either side, is generally referred to as a Boston bag in Japanese, and it's from that origin. Next one. Do you think that letting go of the shinai to strike only with the right hand, using it like a kotachi in kata, should be awarded ippon? Could be awarded ippon. I mean, it could be. There's nothing in the rules that say it can't be. But you do have to make a strike that is carried out with sae and good tenuichi, which I think you would struggle very much to do if you were to do that. I also don't know why you would do that. There's not really any benefit to doing it. The reason that katate waza exists with the left hand is because it gives you additional range, but you don't get that from the right hand. So there's no benefit to doing so. So yeah, I doubt it very much. In real terms, theoretically, hypothetically, it could be. Haven't seen it, and I don't think I will. Next one, hey Sensei, a couple of equipment questions. One, do you tie your kote tight around your wrists or leave them as tied when you get them? Is this just a personal preference, or is there a correct level of tightness? Two, what are the advantage of double-layered kendogi? I haven't come across anyone who has or used one, and I was wondering the pros and cons. Also, got my lucky bundle, and I couldn't have picked out better items myself. Thank you so much. Oh, good, good. That's good to know. So, about the kote himo, to some extent it's personal preference. They don't have to be tied up tight around your wrist. It should be loose enough so that you can easily enough get your hand in and out without it falling off, obviously. And it shouldn't be like open, and the himo shouldn't be, the string shouldn't be dangling down. They have to be tied up. But it doesn't have to be tied close to your wrist. It can be somewhat loose, so it's comfortable and you can move your hand around freely. Second is the double layer kendogi. The advantage of double layer kendogi is it's thicker, so it offers a little bit more protection than other kendogi. If you get a missed strike on your arm or something like that, you do get a little bit more protection out of a double layer kendogi than you do from like a single one, and certainly than like a synthetic one. They also look very nice, but to be honest, there's not a massive deal of appearance difference between double layer and single layer these days. I tend to wear single layers more often than double layers. The downside of them, of course, is they're heavier and they're much hotter. So it's good if it's cold. If you're practicing in the depth of winter and it's not a super intense practice, then double layers are pretty good. But if you're in the middle of a Japanese summer where it's like 40 degrees or more and it's super humid and you're wearing a double layer kendogi, you're going to really feel that. I can attest to that. My first ever trip to Japan was in the middle of August to Kyushu, to Fukuoka. And I went to the university teacher training over there, tried to join in the practice with the students. And it's my first trip to Japan. I just took one kendogi, and it was just my, at the time, my shiai kendogi, which was a double layer kendogi. And yeah, I really felt the pain of that. Next one, any good stretching exercises for your legs, particularly the left foot, left calf, and for right hamstring, seeing as how they are the affected areas when maintaining, for example, chuda no kamae. Probably thinking about it too much, just want to make sure I'm doing things right. Thank you. Okay, so I'm no expert on this, all right, but the stretch that I think affects these areas the most is by keeping your feet straight, like this, toes straight, and then spread your legs apart this way as much as you can, and try to keep your, you know, push your heel down towards the floor. The important thing is, and you'll feel that stretch down your hamstring, down your calf. The important thing is you keep your toes forward, all right? Don't turn your foot out this way. You have to keep it forward, like when you're in kamae. That's a good stretch, I think. Next one. Hi, Andy. I know you love Kendo history questions. I think you got me confused with someone else. If modern Kendo is derived from Ittoryu, how come we don't use Ittoryu type Bokuto for Kendo no kata? And what's the standard Bokuto we use derived by the ZNKR? Or does it predate modern Kendo? And if so, where does it come from? Thanks. So I looked into this. I don't know why we don't use Ittoryu type Bokuto, but I think that's probably because there's loads of different Ittoryu types, styles, and lots of them use their own type of Bokuto. So when they standardized Kendall, a Bokuto was standardized in the 50s, and it was the All Japan Kendo Federation did it together with a craftsman called Mr. Aramaki, who is a well-known Bokuto craftsman, and he worked together with the Zenken and the All Japan Kendo Federation to develop the current Bokuto as we have it, and to be the standard Bokken that we use in Kendo and Iaido. I think when they use the Bokken, people generally use the same one. And also in Aikido, I think they sometimes use a standard one, but there are, I think it's called Iwamaryu or something in Aikido. I don't know, but there's another Bokken as well that sometimes people use in Aikido. Next one, I'm just looking to start Kendall, but my local Kendall club hasn't reopened yet and only takes newcomers during specific periods. Any recommendations for an eager aspiring Kendall practitioner who isn't sure when they're going to be able to legitimately start practicing? Any words of advice on what to expect when I eventually do join the club? So, watch our video series Kendo 0 to Shodan. It'll give you a good idea of what to expect. Take a look at the other video that I've done as well called 5 Things to Know Before Starting Kendo. I just go into sort of light explanation of some things that lots of people don't expect about Kendo before they start. Things like it's done barefoot, you have to shout, stuff like that. Definitely check out 0 to Shodan, especially the first couple of episodes, because they'll be the first things that you start to learn. So you'll be able to get a bit of a head start if you practice them a bit. And yeah, otherwise, just go at it with an open mind. Don't think about it too much and just try to enjoy yourself when you actually are eventually able to go. But yeah, I do recommend watching those videos because they're free. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, last Kendo rant I mentioned being nervous about my first Jigeko. It was actually a thrilling experience. Good. So thanks for the encouragement. Great. My question is, I've noticed the experienced Kendoka hold their shinai very loosely. This makes it difficult for me to feel like I'm accomplishing anything, even close to waza. Is this loose grip intentionally a form of defense against such, or is it just a sign I'm using poor technique? Just curious on your thoughts. Thanks as always. Okay, so of course you're just starting out. All right, so your techniques aren't going to be super effective against your seniors. Don't worry about that too much. In terms of the grip on the shinai, it should be reasonably, it should be quite loose. Just with the bottom fingers on the left hand should be gripping it quite tightly. And then at the moment of impact on your strike is when you squeeze them all together for that sharp snap of the tenuchi. But if you hold the shinai too tight when you're in your kamae, that's kind of the opposite of what you're saying, and your opponent's going to really find it easy to find opportunities. Whereas if it's nice and loose, nice and fluid, but not relaxed, and that's where it's a bit of a paradox. And you'll get this with experience. When you figure out you hold it, particularly with these 3 fingers, and then the rest hold it very lightly, and imagine it to be don't imagine it to be a heavy object, the shinai, okay? Treat it as if it's a light object, and it will feel, and you'll be able to wield it like it's a light object. I really think that will help. Like I say, and then just as you actually finish the strike, as you make impact with the Bogu, that's when you squeeze all the fingers together, bam, and then release again, back to the relaxed position. Okay? It'll take time and practice. Don't worry too much. Next one. Hi, I'm interested in KendoStar economically. Would you be willing to share how many Bogu sets you sell in a month? I'd like to pick up Jordan, but I'm having a hard time doing Fumikomi with the left foot. Could you please advise where to start and what to do to overcome that? Thanks. How many Bogu sets do we sell a month? Should I tell that? I don't see why not. It depends on the month, of course, especially recently with the whole pandemic thing. Not many people have been starting out in Kendall. So it has been a little bit fewer than what we would normally do, especially at this time of year. So yeah, probably at the moment it's like anywhere between like 30 to 50 a month. But on a good month, like in normal times when people are starting Kendo and stuff all the time, it could be sort of anything between 50 and like 100 and 120. Like on a really good month. It just depends on the time of year and lots of other things like that. Something like that. Anywhere between, I'd say 30 to 50 to 50 and 100, 120-ish. And then the next one is, you'd like to pick up Jordan, but I'm having a hard time doing Fumikomi with the left foot. So it's exactly the same process as with the right foot, but of course it's totally alien to your body because you've been practicing with the right foot the whole time. It's a bit like trying to suddenly write with a pen with your left hand if you're right-handed. You have to just start from the beginning, and it will take you know, remember when you first started out trying to do Fumikomi with the right foot, it took ages to get to grips with it. It will be the same again. You won't have any specific advantage all of a sudden, I don't think. Maybe you will. I don't know. I haven't personally... I don't know. Having said that, when I've done Jordan recently, I have been able to do it. So... But having said that, I'm not as good at doing Fumikomi with my left foot as I am with my right foot. So I think it's just going to be practice, and it's going to just take a while for you to get to grips with it. To be honest, probably try not to overthink it too much. That might help too. Next one, will KendoStar ever offer a complete white Bogu set? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. And the reason for that is when we make white Bogu sets, we can offer a white Bogu set. If you want one, email us. We'll sort you one out. That's not a problem. We can do that. But we probably won't offer one as standard as part of our specific brand. And the thing is part of the materials that are used for Kendo Bogu is Aizome dyed cotton fabric, as well as other things as well. And that, if you've ever touched it, obviously rubs off and stains. That means that when we stitch a Bogu set, that Aizome blue dye gets all over the sewing machines, all over the needles, everything. When we make a white Bogu set, everything has to be stripped and cleaned, and the whole production line has to be stopped so that one Bogu set can be produced. There isn't a demand for white Bogu to be produced continuously because a very, very, very small number of people actually are prepared to use white Bogu sets. For various reasons, and one of them is that they're more expensive for the same quality. You get better quality for the same money with an indigo Bogu set or a dark blue Bogu set, and also they're much harder to keep clean, of course, because the blue from the other people's Bogu rubs off on them, and sometimes as well, like sweat stains turns them yellow as well, which is, you know, not so pretty. So there's not the demand for them to be like a regular thing. So if we were to offer them as a one-off thing, you know, it'd be a massive trouble to make them, because like I say, you have to stop the whole production, wash everything down, then you make one set and then everything starts up again from scratch. So it puts everything sort of on hold. So you end up paying a lot more for like just the basic quality, the sort of thing you'd be paying, like for example, something you'd be paying on KendoStar, like our bottom level, the new Vanguard Basic, for example, that comes in at like, I don't know, it's like less than £400. Like you'd be paying like double that in the same spec in a white Bogu, to be honest. So I don't really have that on the cards. How to disinfect club shinais to prevent COVID without damaging the Tsukugawa? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how to... I mean, I don't think I know, you know, how to answer that without, you know... I mean, I don't think I'd be able to give an appropriate answer to that. I think the sensible thing to do is probably not have club shinais. People should use their own shinais. And I know that's difficult for beginners, people that are just starting. But I think with the times that we're in right now, where it's difficult to sort of disinfect stuff properly, and you know, we should really be minimizing the sort of sharing of equipment. It's probably better for beginners to, you know, decide if they're going to start Kendall, then unfortunately they're going to have to sort of commit at least to buying a shinai, even if it's just a basic one. And clubs can help that by, you know, you could buy a bulk pack of shinai from like a brilliant web shop like KendoStar, and then they'd be getting them at a great reduced price so that they could offer them to the new starters at a brilliant price as well. That's one way you could go about doing that, for example. So it's not really a sales pitch, to be honest. I mean, I don't really know any other way of dealing with the situation. I don't think I can recommend you disinfecting shinais and passing them around. Next one. Hi Andy, hopefully I'm not too late. I read that a contender of Nitoryu is allowed to make Munetsuki to the other contender. Is this in the current rules, or is it incorrect, and has it been removed? And you did actually post a link to the website you found that on. Yeah, that's totally incorrect. It's totally incorrect. There used to be a rule. There used to be a rule that you could do Munetsuki against somebody doing Nito. I think that was removed in like 1995 or something like that. But that's been removed anyway. There's no Munetsuki in Kendall at all anymore for anyone. So yeah, it's just mune tsuki, by the way. Mune is the chest. So you used to be able to do tsuki to the mune of the door, the chest protector of the door, and then you used to be able to do it against Jordan and against Nito. But like that, I think if I remember rightly, again, Kendo history isn't my strong point. There's people on the internet like Kench247.net that are much better read than I am on Kendo history, but I'm pretty sure that I think it was removed because it just was too easy to beat Jordan doing Munetsuki, which I can imagine being the case. So yeah, they took it away. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, I love the show and my new Vanguard Bogu set. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. A couple of questions. One, I have the feeling I'm putting either my men on or my door on correctly. The ski protection gets stuck in my door mine during Keiko. What do you think could be the reason? I also noticed in my old men that the ski protection is a little bit curved outwards. Is that normal? 2, I have a son of about 7 years old and would like to get him into Kendo. Any good advice on how to get him started? What's your experience with your kids? Okay. Okay. Question 1. It's probably that you wear. It depends on your height. All right. If you're taller than 165 centimeters, like if you're like, let's say 170 centimeters actually, then it's likely that you're wearing the door too high. So you want to wear the door a little bit lower so it doesn't interrupt the skidare. If you're not that tall, if you're like 165 or shorter, then you might be wearing the door too low. And it might be a bit easier to wear the door a bit higher, which will result in them overlapping. Well, it may result in them overlapping the mune and the ago, but they won't catch on each other if you wear the door a little bit higher. If you're somewhere in between, I'd try and go for the situation where you're lowering the door rather than raising it. It's best not to have them overlapping if you can help it. But it's not always possible for everybody, because like I say, it depends on your height. About the skidare being curved outwards a bit, yeah, that's normal. That's normally what happens, especially if it's receiving ski, because it's what happens is as it gets hit with the ski, it bends inwards like that. It bends like that, and then it flexes back that way. So it starts off something like that, and then it receives a ski, and it kind of bends like that way, and it's fixed at the top. So it bends like that, and then it reverts because of the way it's made. So over time, it starts to sort of make this shape. So it's totally normal, totally normal. Some people even bend it that way because it kind of looks a bit better, but don't do that. You might break it. Okay, number 2. I have a son about 7. You want to get him started, and what's my experience with my kids? I don't think my experience with my kids is going to be that appropriate, because my kids started in Japan. It's a very different, I don't know where you are, but if you're not in Japan, it's a very different situation. I don't know if my kids would have started Kendo if we hadn't been living in Japan at the time, because although my kids decided themselves they wanted to start Kendo, it wasn't ever considered part of their recreation or fun. It's not like something that they would do for fun. It was an extension of their education, and that's how Kendo is considered for the most part for kids in Japan. So it's not something they can just like go and enjoy. In fact, there's lots of sensei that get mad if kids said that they enjoyed Kendo, because it means they're not really taking it seriously. So the situation with my kids isn't that applicable for people outside of Japan. So it depends on you otherwise, in terms of how to get him started. It depends what you want him to have from his experience from Kendo. If you want him to enjoy it and to think, oh yeah, I've got Kendo today, then yeah, I mean, you're going to have to think about trying to make Kendo kind of interesting and fun for him. I'm not entirely sure how you do that. I don't have a lot of experience with that, because I did teach kids. I taught kids in Japan under the other type of pretense. So If, on the other hand, you want him to do Kendo as part of his personal development, as a way of improving his character, which Kendo is good at, in fact, that's what it's for, then you'll have to take a different tack with it, but you have to be prepared for him not enjoying Kendo or not wanting to continue Kendo. He may well do, even under those pretenses, but you'd have to continue, you know, he wouldn't be you'd have to make sure that he's attending properly and following the rules of the dojo. It's a good, you know, for, you know, keeping to the discipline of the dojo. I don't know what works best outside of Japan, because it's just such a different cultural situation. Probably I'm having a bit of a harder time of it myself with my kids now, because we've moved over to the UK. We're doing Kendo here in the UK now and have been for the last 3 years pretty much. And of course, it's not the environment that it was in Japan, and my kids have become more British than Japanese now. Culturally, I mean. So I'm now having to make a transition as a teacher for them, to consider them more as a kind of Western kids rather than Japanese kids, and try to be more of a make Kendo more of a positive, enjoyable experience for them. It's difficult for me because I'm not quite sure how to do it, but it's something I'm experimenting with, trying to give positive feedback and encouragement rather than telling them when they're wrong or telling them off when they do something wrong, which is the sort of more traditional way. Good luck with it. Let me know how it goes. Okay, last one. KendoStar were recently offering gift vouchers on the website, but I can't find them anymore. Are they no longer available? Because Christmas is coming and I'm just writing my list. Yeah, they're still available. But what it is we don't have a specific category for them at the moment, I don't think. Let's go and have a look at the website. Okay, so here I am on the KendoStar website. We don't have them in a category, but actually, if you use the search bar in the top right corner and write gift card, if I can type properly, if you write gift card, it comes up there, KendoStar gift card. All right, so we do still have them. They are there and available. You can choose different denominations. I'm expecting you'll probably want one around those bottom levels. I'm joking, of course. I'm joking. They're available at all different denominations. And yeah, you can get them there. So yeah, hope that makes sense. That's it. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining me today. We can get my words out. Great questions. I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, got to ring the Kendo bell. I don't think enough of you have rang the Kendo bell. So if you don't, you're not going to improve as fast at Kendo. So you got to go down there, click subscribe. Forget, it doesn't matter, it's YouTube. Then hit the bell button. You ring that, you'll get better at Kendo. It starts from the very moment you click the bell. All right? So go and do that. Shop at KendoStar and all the other good stuff. Buy a t-shirt, whatever. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.